Hello and welcome to Commodity Champions. I'm Manisha Gupta, and the delay in monsoon has poured water on the progress of Kharif sowing. As of today, the country has received 56% lower rainfall than the long period average, increasing fears of El Nino. Central India is the worst affected, followed by the east and northeast. Due to the erratic rainfall, the sowing of Kharif has been slowed by 10 days, and experts say that this is likely to impact the yield and quality. As on the 9th of June, more than 78 lakh hectares of land has been sown. This is marginally higher than the area covered during the same period last year. Joining me now to take the discussion forward is Atul Ganatra. He's president of the Cotton Association of India. Ajay Goel is director at Shivaji Flour Mills. Also joining us is Bimal Kothari. He's vice chairman of the India Pulses and Grains Association. Gentlemen, hi. Thank you so much for joining us on CNBC TV 18. And first of all, on the monsoon itself, and we have seen a delayed monsoon, a weak onset. And while IMD does say that it is going to be the second half of June that could probably see better rainfall, but then they would be staring at the El Nino concerns as well. So this at best is the most uncertain of times that we have started a monsoon season with. Mr. Kothari, first question to you. How have you seen the pulses growing area, which is down by 30%, by the way, as compared to previous year? I mean, I do understand that these are still very early days to start making any kind of claims at all. But the onset of monsoon and the scenario that we are in right now, what are your concerns on sowing?
Thank you, Manisha ji. As you rightly said, this is it's a very early stage to make any prediction about the crops, what is going to happen. But definitely the El Nino effect, which we have been we have been talking about this for last few months. And now we are seeing the impact of El Nino, that we have not seen any rainfall in almost today we are on the 12th of June, and hardly, as we said, that 56% is the deficient. So definitely it's a huge concern for the Kharif crops, but because as you know that we have couple of very important crops like tuar and urad, of which the prices are already rising. Last year already we had a concern. Today the price of tuar and urad is looking very high. So I think looking at this situation, looking at the monsoon situation, erratic monsoon situation, I think the government needs to take some step. Like we need to, as you know, that the other pulses availability from the Rabi crop is very comfortable. Chana, we have a record crop of again 13.5 million tons. We have good stock of lentils, and also of yellow peas. Movements are good. So I think the government needs to promote the consumption of chana, because of course if the tuar and urad is not available, we have the other pulses which is available at a much cheaper cost, which are selling. As you are aware that these are selling below minimum support price or around the minimum support price. So it is really a huge concern, because last year we have seen the shortfall in the production of tuar and urad, which is the Kharif crop. And if the erratic monsoon situation continues like this, and we don't have enough water in the planting areas, then I'm going to see another major issue in these two crops, particularly the tuar and urad, because tuar and urad unfortunately are not also available in the international market. Only as far as urad is concerned, Myanmar is the only country which produces urad, and their production is about 7 lakh to 8 lakh tons annually. Similarly, tuar, though it is being produced in several East African countries, but the total production taking the East Africa and Myanmar, it is about 10 lakh tons. This year already we are in shortfall of about 12 lakh tons. So there is going to be huge concern. There is already a scarcity. Prices are much higher than the minimum support price. Government has increased the minimum support price to encourage the farmers for tuar from 66 rupees to 70 rupees, urad from 66 to 69 rupees 50 paisa. But one year-on-year basis, I have seen the government is increasing the minimum support price. But I have seen this has not yielded much results as far as the Kharif crops are concerned. And one of the major reasons is the weather aberration. Because of at the harvest time, weather has caused trend, and we could not see good output of these crops. And that's why for last few years, we are regularly importing these crops. So definitely there is a concern about the monsoon, because all these crops are being grown in the rain-fed areas.
Right.
There are not much irrigation facilities. So I think government, you see, we are looking at the global warming. We need to now look at a long-term policy, what we need to do. Because this situation has arisen this year, this may arise again after a few years, maybe next year or after a few years. You do not know.
Yes.
So we have to look at the whole thing at a realistic, we have to take a pragmatic approach, and we have to look from the long-term point of view. This situation may arise, and we should go for the more technology, for the high-yield varieties, where which can resist this kind of warming, global warming.
Situation can be averted, absolutely. And we do import nearly 15 to...
policy is required to address these.
We totally get that, Mr. Kothari. Yes, a long-term policy is required, especially with the changing times and the changing climate as well, more erratic as we go ahead. Ajay, this question is to you. As said, while we have seen MSPs continue to increase, but it is about defending the MSPs where the government really seems to be lacking. And the second thing is that even as the monsoon may not be the best, the government claims about enough buffer stock that they are holding and record food grain crops that we have seen in the past couple of years as well. Do you see that averting any kind of difficult situation going forward?
So the government is, always putting up this brave front, and playing its cards very close to the chest, always when it comes to pulses and cereals and things like that. But the fact of the matter is that it is for everybody to see that, this year we are going to have an impact of El Nino. And just not this year, this impact is going to last for a few more years to come. And the entire food basket, which was actually growing year on year, has actually started shrinking. And the government will have to pay heed to it and come out with suitable measures, because, hectarage is not increasing in the real sense. And MSP goes on increasing year after year, but that doesn't, transfer into productivity or increased production. And and this phenomena is going to last at least 4 or 5 years, wherein we are going to have, delayed monsoon or, a poor distribution of monsoons or severe monsoons, because the Pacific, everything is changing, the weather patterns are changing, and the overall food basket just continues to be at a standstill and the growth is stopped. So I don't know whether mere government statements will be able to resolve this issue. It will have to be converted in some sort of action to augment supplies in the national this. And we must also remember that we are a country with growing demand, and the demand is actually growing. It is not shrinking, whereas production is shrinking.
Oh, well, absolutely. How have you read into the MSPs the way we have seen, Ajay? And would you say this is as per what trade really expected this to be? Because we heard the minister and he said that this is higher than the Rabi, higher than the previous Kharif as well, and this is the second highest in last 1 decade, the MSP hike that is.
So overall, for about 14 crops, they have raised the MSP from 5 to 10% across crops, from what I have read. And of course, the government has its own calculations and own intelligence network, on the basis of which they are acting. But we will have to, moving forward, we will have to see how much this impact will have on the sowing pattern and ultimately how much the government is able to procure. So these are incentives the government tries to provide, but all of it doesn't really work nowadays.
As we have seen in sense of numbers as well, but cotton has been an important subject as well. And Mr. Ganatra, we've seen nearly 8 to 10% for medium and staple cotton variety here. I mean, cotton has been in last 1 year the most erratic story of all, because we saw all-time high prices, then we saw the prices decline quite sharply, and then there were mill concerns, ginning, and mill margins went on a decline as well. Where do you see the industry right now, and what does the MSP hike mean for you as a sector?
Yeah. At Cotton Association of India, we have recommended 6% hike in MSP, but government has almost increased 10% in the cotton MSP. So farmer has to be happy for 10%. And now the rate of the MSP is around 7,020 for the long staple. And looks like government has done good balancing between farmer and the industry. Because cotton is the not only commodity, but it is also a raw material of the industry. So they were very careful about increasing the MSP. And personally, I feel the 10% is a good hike for the farmers. And but the thing is, with this MSP, the 58,000 rupees prevailing price will be bottom out for the cotton. And South India, where the outcome is very less, there around 63,000 rupees spot will be the lowest rate for coming season. And if rate will go below 63,000, then CCI has to start first buying from the month of October itself in the South India. And the same thing, Maharashtra is around 59,000 and Gujarat will be 57,000. So this hike of MSP, the chance of CCI buying cotton on MSP rate will increase for the coming year. And if ICE future will remain below 90 cent, then definitely MSP will hit in the coming new season.
So, Mr. Ganatra, last year there wasn't much procurement from CCI, but this time because of the MSP hike, do you see CCI actually buying more than the mills itself? That is one thing. And the second is, how are you also looking at the demand going forward at these prices? I mean, I understand industry has been asking for lower prices. With the base price now getting higher, how is the industry looking at it?
Industry is happy at this moment. Industry is happy with the rate around prevailing rate of 59,000. First half of the season from October to March, Indian cotton rates were 10 to 15% higher than international prices. But from last 3 months, we have seen Indian prices has declined. And now we are at par with international cotton, and it is a good time for the mills to buy cotton and store cotton, because next year, if the MSP, the way MSP has increased, I don't think mills will get a very cheap rate cotton of 55,000, 56,000. Prices are ruled out now.
Okay.
And so CCI will be active around 60,000 rupees per candy. So industry is happy. At present, spinning mills are making little small profits.
Okay.
And I think coming year, if El Nino effect will be more, and if we will see the rains are less, then I think cotton cultivation also will go up, because cotton don't need much big rains. So cotton sowing also can be increased, but we have to see how the rains will be for July, August and September.
Oh, well, absolutely. Because as of now, when we look at those numbers, we can see clearly that it is cotton, cane and core cereals where the sowing actually has picked up. Edible oil, paddy and pulses, the sowing is still lagging by a double-digit percentage point there. But that is, of course, the initial conversation. We need to take a very short break. But when we come back, we'll, of course, talk about on how much procurement can the government really do. The rural demand and the prices ahead is something that we'll discuss with our experts.